calm.
Peaceful. Welcome to Remnants. This is Kayla.
This is Emily.
And we are your hosts.
We are so very calm and happy and grateful to be here.
With you all today.
With you all. Yes.
We just spent the last hour trying to get the microphone to work. We actually had to go back to our old microphone, which is maybe now
our new microphone.
Our new microphone, and it might be better than our...
Because we never actually recorded with this one, did we?
Yes, we did.
We did? Oh, but the cord was all janky.
But the cord was janky, so I'd bought a new cord, but then Emily's dad had bought us a new microphone, so we never used the new cord. But when we went to record, I think the dolls broke our microphone.
They were sitting right next to it.
Yeah, because it's like the box is dead.
Everything's dead. Nothing works.
So we had to go back to our old Yeti microphone, which allegedly is supposed to be really good for podcasting. So I hope we sound good.
Yeah, we thought that was broken too, but lo and behold, it was muted when we were trying to practice.
We is smart.
We're so smart. We're professional podcasters. Why doesn't anybody listen to us?
Why haven't we taken off?
It's such a mystery. Oh.
No, we were so ready to record, and now I'm like, we spent so long trying to figure out technology issues, but anyways, we're here.
No, I'm ready. I've been wanting to talk about this investigation for months at this point.
Yeah, went back here in September.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
So our location is the Hall of Waters in Excelsior Springs, which most of you probably haven't heard of, but hopefully, once we're done, more and more people will hear of it because it's a really cool location.
Yeah, first of all, it's a beautiful building, and then it is hella haunted.
Hella haunted.
It's the most investigation we've ever, like the most evidence we've ever captured at an investigation.
Yeah, and it wasn't even our longest investigation.
Yeah, we were there
far.
from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m.?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was really good. But I guess before we get into that, do we have any small talk or anything like that?
No, because it's been so long.
I know.
So I can't tell if I'm just noticing it more or if my house has become haunted. Uh-huh. But I keep hearing noises in my house.
Yeah, like what?
Like the other night, a few nights ago, there was like a loud bang in my kitchen, and I went in there, and everything was as it should be. And like, sometimes I've heard noises and it turned out to be my ice maker, but this was not that noise. And I've just heard different taps, and I don't know if it's just me like being paranoid or
I don't feel like
or maybe I have a ghost now.
And you had your books fall down when you were in Europe. And
now
you're hearing
if you didn't see that on Instagram, like when I came back from my Europe trip, I went into my guest room where my dolls are, and some books had fallen off my bookshelf that have been up there for like a year or longer.
Mm-hmm. I think.
And obviously, like, no one was in my house.
Yeah.
Oh, I locked Rogue out, and she is not happy.
See, I hear loud banging, and I'm just like, it's the cats. Nothing to worry about there.
And then I know houses do make noises, but I've lived in my house for 5 years now, and they're new noises.
You've only mentioned the banging. Didn't the first time it happened, wasn't that after... Was that after Waverly, or was that after Beatty? I feel like it was after Beatty.
I think it was after Beatty.
So that's the first time you started having activity in your house. Mm. So, take whatever you will from that.
Maybe I am clairaudient.
I don't remember. There's too many words.
There's too many, but it's one where you're...
Yeah.
I hear...
Well, you have heard actual voices, too. So...
Don't say that too loud, although I have
She's heard voices!
What do the voices tell you to do, Kayla? They just say hi. And they tell me to stalk people.
Yes. Yeah, she texted me. Was it yesterday?
Oh my god, yeah, just last night. Oh, I was in a state of depression.
We as you know, we fangirl over every ghost show for the most part, but Project Fear, right? It's Project now, Project Fear.
Project Fear. It's probably my favorite.
Yes, I do like it a lot. But she sent me a screenshot, and it looked like they were definitely in a movie theater by where we live, because it has.
It was 1,000%. That movie theater is very specific.
I'm sure no one else has that carpet in the world.
I was there when it opened in '97.
I was. What was that quote from Chronicles of Narnia? Don't quote the whatever fucking magic. Whatever.
Oh yeah, don't question.
Yeah, so you're Aslan.
I was there at the dawn of time.
I was still in California, and she was watching this theater get built.
Yeah,
She's like, I'd know this anyway. Well, literally, she was like, I thought it looked like a lot like that, and then I saw the bathroom, and I was like, absolutely, that's that theater. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's literally like right by us.
I mean, Emily could walk there.
I could.
I
waited to show people where I live. Oh. Thanks.
I'm kidding. She can't walk there.
I can't. I don't have legs.
It's too far. It's miles and miles and miles and miles away.
And miles and miles and miles and miles and miles.
But anyway, so I was pretty sad that they were like.
Oh yeah, that's why we were telling the story.
They were in our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Like I think that's the closest I've ever sort of been to like ghost hunter celebrities.
Yep, and she started channeling her. What's that character from You? Oh my God, we need to make a reel of you do that dance. Every time Kayla sees Ghost Hunter nearby. I don't know, I'm dancing, you can't see it, but that's you.
Oh yeah, we talked about video recording.
We did, and then we spent 5 minutes. I keep looking over my shoulder just to make sure
I'll keep an eye on it.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess you can see it. I'm so paranoid. I'm like, is it still recording? Is it in the red? What's happening? So yeah, Kayla hears voices, and she's a stalker.
Why am I single?
You might not be. You might have a goist boyfriend.
A goist boyfriend.
A goist boyfriend.
I hope so.
Isn't that nice?
It's so nice.
The best boyfriend. They always leave you alone until they're banging in your kitchen. Oh, God.
And now you want out, Rose?
She does. She just wants the option.
Oh, gosh. Anyways. What's new in you? What's new with you?
What's new in you?
Well, I was gonna say what's new in your world, and then I said what's new with you, and then it just came out weird.
I don't know if there's anything new in me. Hopefully not. Usually you don't want that.
It's Taco Bell in us.
Taco Bell in me. Nothing too big. I need to go ghost hunting very badly. It's been too long.
Which we have one on the books.
Yeah. I got my first experience of like being introduced to someone, and one of the talking points about me was that, oh, she goes ghost hunting a lot. She even has a podcast about it. And then I got to deal with the awkward silence that follows that, and I'm just yeah, I do.
And they had no interest in asking about that.
No, not really. It was kind of just like a
slowly back away.
Got it. So I think I just need to lean into that fully and just embrace it. And then maybe like, even though I don't really believe in any of that stuff, maybe I just have like a handful of crystals in my purse at all time. And I'll be like, absolutely, you want this? I trapped a ghost of a 12-year-old nun in here. Here you go. I don't know. But yeah, nothing new. I'm just looking forward to our investigation we have coming up. In 2 weeks?
I know. It's pretty soon.
Yeah, we're going to somewhere called, the House of the Dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's got a demon, allegedly.
A demon. Known as the Bone Breaker. I don't think we're supposed to say his name. I don't know if that was actually his name, though.
Oh, well.
That's what I'm calling him. BB.
BB.
Hey, BB!
We're gonna go see BB! I don't know where this accent is.
God damn, cat!
Now it's Kira.
Because she's too fat to squeeze through that little crack. She's like,
help me! Oh my goodness. Alright. Should we get into it?
Let's get into it. We've got a book of history. We're going back to our roots.
It's not a book.
How many pages?
5.
Wow, people, she really reeled herself in for this one.
I did.
This is actually, the history of this location is really cool. We kind of fell in love with the building. I think it was like a, stereotypical haunted house movie where the family goes into this decrepit place where 20 people were murdered, and they were like, oh my God, I love it. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the vibes.
Yeah, like we went and revisited it today.
We did. I was like, we did? We did.
It feels so long ago.
That was another lifetime.
Because we were trapped in the hell of technology issues.
5 microphones ago.
But Hall of Waters in Excelsior Springs, Missouri, they do paranormal investigations. It's kind of not big on the radar, so we're hoping that our episode will get more people interested. We did a private investigation, but it's not fully private, but it was just Emily and I with the building supervisor, TR. He's kind of just the keeper of all the history of the building and the town, and he does these paranormal investigations. And so he was with us the whole time. I mean, it is a government building now. It's their city hall, so I don't think we could just be in there by ourselves. get into the city records. But like he and his wife were great because they kind of just like let us. They were kind of just there. They participated in our investigations.
She made us cookies.
She did. Oh my gosh, they were so good. I ate so many cookies.
Oh god, yeah. I remember. We can talk about this part later, but we had a pretty serious Estes method session, and we came back, and I literally think I stuffed like 10 cookies in my face in a row, just sitting there, just like
get our energy back.
Oh, I needed. I don't know what I needed after that.
But yeah, they're amazing. So yeah, they do public and private ghost hunts there. So Hall of Waters, look into it. But I'm going to tell you the history because it's pretty fascinating.
Look into it. Sorry, I was making fun of you.
Do it. The Hall of Waters is the site of the first spring water discovered in 1880 called the Siloam Spring?
I've always said Sloam.
Sloam Spring?
Sloam.
And, I mean, they say discovered in 1880. That means discovered in 1880 by the white man.
Yes.
But I guess that's the recorded history.
Yeah.
And I'll get into the Native American history here in a sec. But at that time, it was the only natural supply of ferro-manganese. That's how you say that?
What's it look like? Let me see.
Why have all of a sudden?
Where are we?
Manganese.
Yeah.
Manganese. I think that's what I said. I don't know.
Or we can go really crazy and say magnesium.
Magnesium.
Watch that actually be how it is.
Mineral water in the United States, and it is actually only one of 5 known in the whole world. So a second ferro-manganese water. They call it the Regent Spring. That was discovered in 1881. So altogether, there are 4 distinct kinds of mineral water in downtown Excelsior Springs, and that's more varieties than anywhere else in the world in one place. So I mean, that's pretty incredible. But this place, 30 minutes north of Kansas City. I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a town, but it's,
it's tiny,
but it's small. So it's pretty cool. The Native Americans, they did have a large settlement in the Excelsior Springs area. And, the story goes that there was a maiden whose job it was to keep the twigs and the leaves and all of that out of the springs, because this was the springs were very sacred to them and they used it for healing. And other tribes, they would come into this valley and they would lay their weapons down before going into the valley to the springs. And, if anyone would disrespect the area while they were down there, they would immediately be killed without question. That's how much they respected these healing waters. And TR kind of told us, too, of a story that there was a pioneer family in Kansas, and they had a daughter with red hair. So the Native Americans were kind of curious about that. So they ended up, this family befriended the local Native Americans. And one day, this family had asked the Native Americans where they would go when they left for 3 or 4 days. And the chief told them that he would take them one day. And so one day he did take them, and he showed this family, these springs, and maybe that's how the white man discovered it.
Yeah. Big mistake showing us anything.
Yeah, because we're then going to take it over.
Yeah.
Architecturally, Hall of Waters, which cost $1 million to build, which is a lot of money back in the 30s.
A lot of money back then now.
It's significant because it's the most ambitious project to have been undertaken by the Federal Public Works Administration in the state of Missouri. Most of those WPA projects, they went to the east or the west coast, And, those were part of Franklin's New Deal that employed millions of Americans to carry out public work projects during the Great Depression. So, it was a big deal that Missouri, and especially this more remote, not like St. Louis or Kansas City, they got this project. And there's actually a really fun story of how that came about. So kind of going a little bit back. So before there was something on the site of Hollow Waters before it was built, and that it was called Silo Gardens. And that was designed by George Kessler, who was a world-renowned architect. He designed Kessler Park.
What?
I know, in Kansas City.
He named it after himself.
Which it's still standing, and it's really pretty. I think I drove Emily by there a few months back.
Oh, yeah, and I was like, look at that.
It's pretty.
Is that the place with the bear cave? The bear holes?
No, it's the one that had all the arches, like in that, the
Italian...
Italian...
and you went down the wrong side of the road. You're like, I know this place like the back of my hand. Oh, shit! That was not an entrance.
Yep, that's the place.
How that went. Okay, got
it. So Kessler Park in Kansas City, obviously designed by the same guy. So Silo Gardens, it consisted of 2 pavilions that were lined up across from each other, and they were supposed to connect the 2, but they ran out of money. And so then the mayor at the time, John Lodwick, and this was in the 1930s, he decided, well, let's just build a whole new building instead. So the story goes that John was talking to his brother Al, and Al was a very well-connected man, and he was telling his brother about this new building idea he had. And Al worked for the military, and he had a house in Florida and an office in D.C., and he taught people how to fly airplanes for the military. So that kind of just shows you how very well-connected he was in the, political world. So John asked his brother if he could go ask his buddies for money for this new building. So Al went to Hot Springs, Georgia, to talk to one of his buddies, but a woman comes out to say that he can't meet with him today, but that she would listen to his idea. So they sat down and talked, and she just fell in love with this idea, and she said, you got to take this plan to this guy in Washington, D.C., but you can't tell anyone we had this meeting because we don't want to cause a panic because Franklin isn't doing well. And Al kind of paused, and he's like, who calls the president by their first name? And he realizes he's talking to Eleanor Roosevelt.
That's so cool. I love that story.
Yeah. So Al, he calls his brother to tell him, what's going on. And 2 weeks later, the President of the United States, Franklin Roosevelt, calls Mayor John Lodwick and says, I love your idea. Let's do it. I just want a therapy pool with a wheelchair in it. Which was actually very, progressive for the time because, there weren't pools with wheelchair accessibility. So,
yeah.
TR got a lot of this information from David Lodwick, who was John Lodwick's son, and he was a local attorney, and he was in high school when Hall of Waters was being built. So that's kind of where they got a lot of this story from when TR interviewed him, a few years back.
Because that became, his passion project was kind of that building. That's so cool to see how much that building kind of took over his mind.
Yeah.
But, in a good way, not in a bad way. He's just so dedicated to it and its history and everything, and...
Yeah, he created the museum inside the Hall of Waters. That is all from TR, and it's his passion.
Yeah, and he, I don't know if you have it written down, his cool stuff about getting the file or anything like that about
No,
Hall of
I
Waters.
didn't end up including that, but...
it was, I don't know, it was cool.
Because I just re-listened to the interview last night to prepare, but basically when he interviewed David Lodwick, at the end of the whole time David had this, envelope in front of him. And at the end of the interview, he, slid it to TR and was like, I've never opened this, but it's from my father's desk, and you can have what's ever in there. TR later opened it, and it was, the original application for the building project and, permits and just all. So this is where they have so much of their information because all of the records of the building were destroyed in the 1993 flood.
Yeah, and that's why they have, no actual indication of...
Did anyone die in the building
or
patient records? So this was a very important folder to get, and TR, he had it all digitized, so you can see these files for yourself at the museum in downtown Excelsior Springs, and it's kind of cute. He buried the originals somewhere in the building.
Yeah.
And he won't tell anyone.
I know, he's got his own, national treasure plot there. Uh-huh. And he kind of, when he told us, he kind of looked at us You gonna find it?
Yeah. So
Dare you.
there you find it.
Oh, God, that was so fun.
So it took 150 men 18 months to build the building. It is 6.5 stories tall from basement to the tower. And the tower is actually 30 feet shorter than it was originally planned for.
God, I can't imagine it being
any taller. Especially, I mean, it's a small town. Like, it's
There were, like, supposed to be stairs in it, but there's just a ladder in this giant tower that you have to climb up. And it's shorter than it was supposed to be.
Yeah, like, I can't... And it's still really tall.
Like, giant rickety ladder.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Nope. Yeah, we were lucky enough to get a little peek inside the tower room. We didn't investigate, but we kind of got to look around.
Yeah, because that was near the end of the night, but...
It was pretty cool. The building, it's Art Deco style, but it's kind of got this very unique aspect to it because it's just got this beautiful representation of Mayan water gods. So kind of this...
Yeah, it's really random. It's beautiful. You just wouldn't expect it at all.
No, especially like...
In Excelsior Springs.
Missouri, there's all this Mayan culture representation.
Yeah, just like, what?
And I guess, I mean, there's a lot of Egyptian, like, I guess
that's true.
I think a lot of that Mayan stuff was being discovered in the early 1900s, so I think maybe it was just very interesting to Americans at the time, because a lot of those Art Deco buildings are, like, Egyptian, and...
That's true.
Like, our World War I museum has, like,
yeah,
Egyptian.
we're just like, of course we have that. That's normal.
So normal, makes sense. But it's pretty cool. All the tile work in the building is original. And sadly, like, the entryway has all this beautiful mosaic tile, but a former city manager painted over it because he didn't like it.
Yeah.
TR said he did not last long as a city manager, but it just, they had a portion of the paint removed to reveal the tile, but it cost like $10,000. So, like, they probably need $1 million to get that whole entryway restored.
Yeah. And TR's, I don't know how, like, to the full extent, but TR founded, like, the what is it? I have our little thing, Paranormal Tours of Hall of Waters. He kind of founded their paranormal group they've got there, and I think all of the money they make for that goes back into maintaining the building.
Mm-hmm. It does, yeah.
Which, like, he needs a lot, and it needs...
I mean, the building is actually in pretty good shape, but it needs... I mean, it's an old building. It was built in 1937, so it needs more...
Yeah, like...
It just needs constant TLC. Yeah,
and it's an incredible building, so...
Go visit.
Go for a tour.
It's free to go in. Yeah, to at least
go in.
To the visitor center, like the kind of entryway.
Yeah. And the tour wasn't even that pricey, honestly.
No, especially if you did one of the public ones. I think those were like $40.
Yeah.
So
we needed private.
We wanted private, but it was still pretty affordable. Yeah. So like I said, Hall of Waters opened in 1937, and they not only was it a spa, they also bottled, distributed, and sold a range of mineral waters, including soda water, God, this freaking word again, and iron... Manganese. And it features the world's longest water bar. Mm-hmm. So people would just, like, come up, throw a nickel, and say, I want this kind of mineral water.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cool. And the original bar is still there.
And I know, like, and maybe you mentioned this, too, because I used to work for that county, and I had to know some of the history about... Hall of Waters and everything, and their water was so popular that it was like in the World's Fair and everything like that. Like it was a big deal, like a big name in that health kick phase of our history.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it really grew the town because the Elms Hotel, which is a pretty famous, you maybe have even heard of it. If you're not from the Kansas City area, it's just a half a mile away. So there was Excelsior Springs, like, grew to this pretty big resort place, and
it's got to be one of our next investigations. We need to do the Elms.
Hotels are tough because unless you can book out the whole hotel, which we are not there.
No, we are not.
It's hard. We need to go on like a Tuesday night in January when there's probably very low capacity.
We need to get an in with an employee and be like, hey.
Yeah.
We're super respectful. Just let us, like, poke around a little bit.
Please.
Be fine.
Yeah, because the Elms has some, like, crazy history. I mean, a lot of presidents stayed there. Al Capone stayed there. Mm-hmm. There was a speakeasy.
They should reopen that.
During the Prohibition because they bottled water, too.
It's like it's just water, guys.
It's just water. Don't
it's
fine. You could also go into the whole mafia history. Like, Kansas City was so... overrun by the mafia. It actually was one of the craziest places to live during the Prohibition because the mafia owned the police in Kansas City, they got away with like
prohibition. What prohibition?
I think there was over like 200 speakeasies in Kansas City, and the FBI actually came in and took over, because that's how corrupt it was, that they took over the police department because it couldn't be trusted. Like, I don't know. Kansas City mafia history is fascinating.
Yeah, we need to do an episode on that at some point, because I'm sure we can do.
That they still exist.
We can't talk about that.
Yes. But yeah, Pendergast, like his whole empire of Kansas City, he basically ran the town back then.
I'm sure we could do a paranormal side to that too.
Oh yeah.
It'd be good.
Yeah, because like where like my brother got married, the Madrid theater, you can see these like bullet holes back in the green room.
Of Union Station too.
Yeah, because there was a huge like FBI shootout with.
There's a movie with Johnny Depp. That's all I know.
Yeah, that happened at Union Station.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, we weren't planning to talk about the mafia. I went down a rabbit hole.
This is what happens. We haven't hung out for a really long time, and we've already had almost all day to talk, and we're still just like...
Yeah.
I
missed you so much.
I know, I missed you too.
Okay, back to Hall of Waters.
Yes.
All right, we'll do a mafia crazy episode
Clearly
someday.
we have to.
So at its height, the Hall of Waters was the most completely outfitted health resort in Missouri and possibly the whole region. It had, the water bar, a well, which we couldn't go see anymore, a competitive-sized swimming pool, a therapy pool with wheelchair access, which, like I said, was very uncommon at that time, and a men's spa and a women's spa. There is over 6 miles of piping from Hall of Waters through the town. The farthest one connects to Regent Springs, which is a half mile over by the Elms. And in total, Excelsior Springs has 47 springs.
Jesus.
But TR told us that only 40 are still accessible because 7 have been lost to just like private homes or parking lots being built over them. But I mean, 40 springs is still a lot for a small town.
Right? That's crazy.
8 springs feed the building. And actually, when the government was building, they turned all the springs into wells. So I guess I should refer to them as wells. So 8 wells feed the building. And it's the only place in the world that has all 4 basic water types. And the building itself sits on the Shalom Springs.
Shalom. You said that. Shalom.
Shalom Springs. And at its height, there was over like 10,000 people living in just that downtown area, which...
That's nuts.
I mean, I think their population now is 10,000, but it's much more spread out.
True, yeah.
So back then to have like... So there was just crazy amounts of hotels and...
God, I wish I could see what it was like.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few pictures in the museum.
Yeah.
But just to have actually like really experienced it would have been pretty cool.
It would have been so different.
By the late 1950s and the early 60s, the popularity of Hall of Waters and just other local spas in general began to decline as tourists ventured other places. In 1967, the mineral water bottling facility in the Hall of Waters was operating at a loss. In 1971, it was kind of a big year because the Missouri State Health Agency ruled that the community must cease and desist all bottling operations due to health safety concerns over the bottling process. Bottling and capping of the water was done by hand at the time, which was a violation of the, state health law. So in response, they had a new mechanized bottling equipment purchased and installed. But it was moved to a different location kind of south of Hall of Waters. And that facility was in operation for a brief time. In the 1980s, an increase in mineral water demand prompted continuation of the mineral water bottling back at Hall of Waters. And the spa baths kind of had a little bit of a resurgence. The water bar and the bath remained open until the early 1990s when just the infrastructure repairs forced the closing. So it's kind of like fascinating to learn that it was still sort of being used, fairly recent.
There are people that live in Excelsior Springs now. They'd be like, yeah, I used to go swimming in waters.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
What? I want them to reopen that pool. It's so huge and so cool.
I would be scared in it. It's so big. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. I'll get, I guess when we talk later, I'll tell about the size of the pool. But as I said earlier, so Hall of Waters is now the Excelsior Springs City Hall, where, you can pay your bills, get your building permits.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I like that it's still being used,
Me
though,
too.
and not just going to ruin. So,
God, like so many places.
so I mean, yeah, because it's a government building, we couldn't go everywhere, but we still went to probably like, I don't know, 85%
We went
of the
to
building.
way more than I anticipated. It was
Yeah.
amazing. It was like one of the best tours we've ever done.
Yep. I think we had asked TR like why. He's just said that this building is so haunted, like that there's spirits everywhere, and we asked him about why, and he just said that he thinks the spirits are drawn there because of the combination of limestone and quartz and water in the building.
Yeah.
Because the building was only ever a spa. So it was only open during daytime hours. It's not like people stayed there overnight. There probably were few deaths in the building. There could have been some drownings, but there's no records, so we have no idea. But I think it's just spirits are drawn there just because of the water.
And I feel like we kind of get some evidence of that.
Yes.
Because I remember we were skeptical about the investigation and the location because there's just not a lot of information about it and the hauntings and all of that. And we thought maybe like, oh, worst case, we're just going to see this cool building in more detail. That'll be fine. It'll be really cool. But he was right. Like, it's definitely one of the most haunted places we've ever been to. And
I mean, the amount of evidence we got isn't... I'm pretty sure this episode's going to be 2-parters because...
Yeah, it's going to have to be.
It's buckle up.
Yeah, because I can... Obviously, we've been doing this for a while, and we're both skeptical in some ways, but obviously we do believe enough to do this podcast and to pull evidence from places. But I think this location was definitely the one that shifted my mindset a little bit more to being way more open to things and way more open to certain techniques being actually like valid in certain situations. Just because it was just such a productive investigation, and it was so like it was a small group. We used our own equipment to get all of the really convincing things.
Yep.
For me, where the tour started, I remember TR kind of like had us in what's basically the lobby area of the Hall of Waters. And I think he was doing a basic overview of his experience at the building and how he started off as a skeptic. And then he came on to work, I think he does like maintenance for the building. So that was initially... did the maintenance. He does a lot of maintenance around the town for people. I think he kind of is...
Also for the police.
Yeah, like a very
station.
universal handyman, it seems.
Yeah.
But he worked at the Hall of Waters. And the lobby area, you walk in, it's gorgeous. We'll post pictures on Instagram. But, like, there's a second level that
Mezzanine.
kind of... Yeah, sure. Whatever. That has like there's an upper level with offices and stuff, and you can kind of see the railing, you can see the walkway where people are moving around, and this walkway crosses over and overlooks the water bar down on the ground floor. So TR's belief in the paranormal and kind of why he started investigating the Hall of Waters almost exclusively is because he was there one night by himself cleaning the floors, and he looked up and saw a woman in a red dress standing on that overlook area, that hallway. And I think he did what everybody does and tried to find her and all those.
Yeah, he said he asked her, like, you're not supposed to be here, can I help you? And she started walking towards the stairs, so he went up the stairs to meet her, and...
God, and what was her name?
Monique,
okay. So yeah, and he kind of described Monique because she's a reoccurring spirit that he almost sees almost exclusively. It sounded like I don't know if... I think he said some other people have seen her and they get her name, and they get her name from investigations. But yeah, she's just this reoccurring spirit that kind of got him investigating the building more, and just doing that led to this whole slew of things that we kind of verified in a few ways. We didn't find Monique.
No, we did not.
But
found some others.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, there's no like specific lore about the building. Most of the stuff comes from investigation specifically, and kind of what the spirits tell them and what's heard over time by multiple people. So we're going to kind of just follow the path of our investigation a little bit, room to room. We're going to start in the women's spa. So the men's spa is directly below the women's spa in exactly the same place. We didn't go there in the tour. There's some parts of the building that are a little too unsafe to go into. That might have been one of them, or we might
just have ran out of time.
Yeah, because we were thorough in a lot of those places, which I'm glad we were. But So the women's spa is on the main floor. it had a lot of really weird things in it. It was kind of like almost like a torture thing.
Yeah.
But there was like this hot and cold needle shower thing, and you like TR described it as like just blasting you with the
hot and cold.
Yeah, and like you just stand there and it's psh, and then it also had this like an easy bake oven that you get inside.
Yeah.
And like it's just your head sticking out, and I don't know what.
I think it was a steam.
Yeah, like
tank
some
or something.
thing. I don't know. It's a steam box. It was like a steam box, and you sit in and you just get cooked. Yeah. And then I don't know, man. There was that, and there's a bunch of tubs. And
yeah, and there was they did massages in there. That's the only part that sounded
like, okay,
nice.
Nice. The tubs were nice, except for the fact that they're all just in a row and just open. There's a couple showers. So yeah, just a spa with torture devices.
Casual.
Yeah, casual. Oh, there was like a sauna.
There was a sauna. Yep.
They could lay down, and they had it where your head be sticking out or something like that. Because a lot of the people that did go there had some sort of medical condition or polio or something, which is a medical condition, but
probably rheumatoid arthritis.
Yes, so like a lot of it had to be set up to be used for people that weren't as mobile. So that was really cool to see, but it looked awful for the most part. But paranormal wise, the spa is significant because they believe there's a spirit of a little girl named Emily there, and Emily has been heard multiple times through however they're getting the information, whether it be spirit box or EVP. I think she's mostly spirit box, but she's looking for her mom. Mm-hmm. Like they frequently hear her mention mom or mommy, or that she's been left here. So the belief is that she was dropped off and she's looking for her mother. And I remember we went in there, and we hadn't been talking to TR very long at that point. And he was like, so we have a spirit of a little girl named Emily here. And I was like, oh, that's my name. And then it got kind of quiet. And he's like, oh, I got chills. And that's like a passing whatever. But later, I don't know. We had a lot going on with Emily. Mm-hmm. We can go into later. But they told us that Emily really likes when people sing the Itsy Bitsy Spider. So I don't know if you heard the introduction to this podcast episode. But
awesome.
That was horrific.
She did not respond to our singing.
Which is totally fair, because like, what kid would be like, oh, I like that? We're just like,
more!
The Itsy Bitsy Spider. Come on, child. So
come play with me.
Play with us, Emily. So, apart from Emily, they believe that there is another spirit there named Walter. And none of them are confined to the spa, but that's kind of where a lot of their interactions come from. And from investigating and speaking to him, they believe Walter is the spirit of a World War II veteran. And they have a bit of lore they've established about him based on kind of conversations and interactions they've had. Initially, they thought he was more of a malevolent spirit.
Like protecting the children.
They thought he was straight up bad at first, though.
Oh.
They didn't think he was a protector at first. They were like, at first he thought he was not a very nice guy. But now we think he's protecting the kids. We tend to
After some stuff that happened,
yeah.
I think he is not a nice guy.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit more in the next kind of...
Next room.
Segment, yes.
Segment, yeah.
But I do think that's a really interesting piece of this location is, since there isn't history so specific as to know, like, yes, a person here died and their name was Monique and all of this. Like, that doesn't exist. Literally, the stories come from repeated interactions and...
Getting names through EVPs or spirit boxing. And
I mean, I wish we could have... in retrospect, like, gone in without the history, and
yeah,
would we still have gotten what we got? Probably, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was clear enough that it would have happened regardless. So we're going to start in the women's spa, and like basically every single location in the Hall of Waters, we got way too much evidence here.
Right.
We did a pretty thorough investigation here. It was like 40 minutes at least, and we did call and response for a while, and we didn't think we got anything from that initially, but we did actually catch 2 really good EVPs from that whole thing, in addition to EVPs we caught when we were not in the room.
And we just left a recorder behind, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the ones that are in direct response to the questions we asked, and it's the same entity both times, we believe. it is a little quiet, so you might want to either turn your radio really, really, really high up and then turn it down really fast, or get some headphones. So we'll play those now, and you can just
bask in their glory.
Can you guys turn on the flashlight? Can you guys turn on the flashlight?
Like a no or a
Yeah, I don't know if it's a no or like a yeah.
Yeah. Definitely like a kid non-committal noise.
Yeah, like I
don't know.
imagine from the audio we caught specifically, like when we were asking questions, I imagine like a little girl who's kind of like shy about the whole thing and who's kind of peeking into the room and kind of answering but not wanting to fully answer. That's just what it feels like.
Right. And we kept hearing noises like down at the other end of the room.
We did.
Which we didn't really capture on our audio, but so it almost seemed like the entity was hanging out, like sussing us, which this was the first place we went. So I feel like they were like checking us out, like,
We heard that, and we saw, because we had a bunch of lights from our equipment, and we saw those lights flickering as if something was kind of passing in front of them.
Yep.
But don't worry, that's not the only thing we heard from what we believe is
That same session.
So here's the second one. And this is the one that's a little bit quieter.
Turn those off and on. So if you have a yes answer for anything, just light up the lights, okay? It's that simple. If it's a no, then just don't mess with them, okay? We'll take it as a no answer, okay? We don't want to harm you. We just want to acknowledge you and learn more about you in your story. We'll take it as a no answer. Okay? We don't want to harm you.
So that one, to me, sounds like mommy. Like a very distant, echoey mommy. So that's why I am pretty convinced those two in the spa were Emily.
Yep.
I don't know if the ones we caught later.
In the spa.
I think maybe Emily followed us.
Yeah, she left with us to keep checking us. Oh, yeah, because then,
Yeah,
she
because we heard
followed.
plenty from her in a
Yeah.
little bit. But whatever stayed in the spa after, not a fan. And maybe we talked about this later, and I don't remember, but you can hear in both of those recordings dripping. And TR and his wife were both saying that there should not be any water running.
It's all shut off in that area.
Yeah, there's like no water running into that part of the building, and there's just constant dripping, which is incredibly eerie in that setting.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons, and it's just like, why? They even seemed like weirded out by the water, and like they're
because
there.
we heard that in person.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, it was enough that it's just like, that's odd.
Yeah.
And even they said that, and they're there weekly, daily.
Yeah.
So,
TRs are deadly. Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully
So
that'll work.
now we'll go into the audio we heard when we left the recorder running for 3 hours while we investigated elsewhere in the building.
It's creepy.
I will say this digital recorder, it's an old one from college, so the quality is not fantastic, but you can definitely still hear.
Yeah, and like an
stuff we caught.
important note is we were guaranteed to be the only 4 people in the building, and we were basically with each other the entire time.
We were.
The only time we weren't, your laptop's gonna fly away.
It's taken off.
The only time we weren't, we knew exactly where somebody was because we could track him on the security cameras, because they have something called like the Ghost Central in the Hall of Waters that they use for other paranormal investigations, and it includes literally he's set the entire building up with security cameras, so you can look at it and see everything. So we knew where he was, and we knew that he couldn't really have corrupted our evidence that we caught from that recorder.
No.
So,
And there were times when you could hear us if we were getting in the elevator or like kind of walking past the room, you can hear us, but
yeah.
So obviously I didn't include those parts. But
Yeah, and the things we caught are just,
they're very weird.
you can't really argue with them too much.
There's like a voice at the front of it. And
Is
then
there?
It sounds like it to me.
Oh. I've never heard that part.
Yeah.
I listened to it again. Okay. So you're going to hear that again, obviously, so we can stop playing it. But, like, this is just the very clearly just... That is insane to me.
And then this... and that is like human whistling to me because...
We haven't even played the whistle yet.
We
thought
got
that was
two.
a whistle?
We got 2 whistles.
I thought that was still breathing. Because I thought it was more like... I thought it was like gasping breath.
Oh, so we're like hearing different things.
I could see why it would sound like a whistle too, but I just heard like I can't even do it, like kind of like like that kind of, like gasping.
Oh, okay.
Or like trying, I don't know. That's what I hear out of it at least. But when you say whistle, I mean, let's just pull up this other one.
Let's pull up this whistle we got.
Katniss, is that you?
It is.
How does that go? How does it go? What? Can you whistle?
I can't whistle.
Try.
I don't know. I can't because I'm laughing.
Well, now you can't even remember what the song does. Well, we know Kayla did not make that audio up.
Yeah, no, I can't whistle.
So if either of us made it up, it was me, because I can at least whistle. And then you just... I'm spitting everywhere. You did great. God. Beautiful.
Thank you. I'm going to enter some whistling competitions.
You would not survive the Hunger Games.
No, or maybe I would because I'm so quiet because I can't whistle. No, I'd die first. I wouldn't make it past the
You'd
training.
be like, oh my god, bugs! And then you'd die.
I would.
Oh, it flew.
The last little bit of evidence we got in the women's spa from my recorder being left in there was this moan.
Fucking episode is full of us having to go back and record more because there's too much.
Yeah, so as we were enhancing that audio while we're editing, we realized it's not really a moan.
It's a voice saying, help me. Like, that's what we hear, at least. When we turned it back up, we're like, wait, because we heard the original, like, that kind of sounds closer to words. So then we turned it up a little bit, and we're like, oh.
We can hear the words, or at least what we think we can hear.
Yeah. Like, it's not obviously super clear, but there's a very clear, like...
2 words.
Yeah. Like, and it's...
Sounds like a kid also.
And, like, we instantly both just got so emotional. And
yeah, like, tears in our eyes, like, chills hearing a little kid voice help me.
And it'll make more sense why I think it hit both of us really hard once you guys listen to the second episode of this series, just because
part
it's... 2. Yeah, part 2. But, yeah. Damn it.
This place.
Yeah. So there's that. We keep finding things and we're like, oh, that's just a little thing. And then we're like, wait a second.
When we analyze it more, it's not just a little thing.
This place is unreal.
So let's explain really quick how we are editing this episode, because it's at this point it might becoming choppy sounding. So what we do is when we record, we also listen to the evidence while we're recording. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of get like quote live reactions.
Yeah.
And then
keep it fresh in our heads.
But then when we edit, we're kind of obviously we're re-listening to what we previously said, but then as we're cutting the audio clips, we're enhancing them.
Yeah.
And what keeps happening is when we enhance those audio clips, we're like listening with new ears almost.
Yeah, we listen with new ears, and it's partially that and partially like sometimes, not every time, but sometimes when we put audio into my computer, it sounds a lot better. Mm-hmm. So like that last one in particular that ended up being Help Me, that we had not heard at all, and we've been reviewing this audio for a long time.
Yeah, so we're kind of like shocked that it took us so long to
Yeah, but not only that, but, like, once we realized that's what it was, we had things happen to us while we were recording.
Yeah, I was pretty freaked out. So while, like, Emily's dropping in the audio and, like, cutting after we hear this help me, I swear out of the corner of my eye, I see one of Emily's cats run across the hallway.
Yeah, after we heard a thump that we both heard.
That's true. We heard the thump, and then I turn, and I swear I see Rogue run past.
Yeah, and Kayla panics, and she's like, oh, it was just your cat. And I was like, haha, well, it'd be funny, because one of my cats, Kira, was on the bed, so we thought it was Rogue. And we're like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if Rogue was just on the bed? And then we looked over, and Kayla just freaked because Rogue was on the bed, asleep. So both of my cats are accounted for.
So I don't know what the hell I saw run across the hallway.
Or what thumped. Because it was definitely inside. Like, it sounded like something... It sounded like my cat jumping off the table onto the ground or something.
That's what I thought. And then, like, dashing across the hall.
Uh-huh.
But
nope,
they're both in here sleeping on the bed.
So there was that. And then...
a few minutes later, while we were still going over that one particular piece of audio, the lights just in my room flickered very briefly and then came back on. Yeah. Like, what the hell?
And that doesn't just happen. It's not storming or anything. It is raining, so maybe, but, like,
But it didn't flicker in the living room that I can, see to my left.
And we were both saying, like, it's interesting that once we discerned what that one piece of audio was saying, it was almost like something was like, thank you, you heard me. I've been trying to get you to listen to that, and you finally picked up on it, and it's just like...
Yeah, we also had just such emotional reactions to hearing that, like, instant, like, crying, which,
Yeah, like, literally, I was actually crying.
And I don't usually have such visceral reactions to things like that.
I will say this location was the first one where I get, like, pretty emotional feeling.
I
get emotional, but this is the first one that felt more, like, substantiated almost. It was like, it was emotional, but it was, like, on a level that was more understandable almost. And then when that happened, it's just this one little thing, and it's like, holy shit.
Right.
Like, that hit hard, and that was... We've had evidence like that, and it didn't feel the same. It's interesting.
Yeah. And I don't know if we're going to keep this because I'm thinking out loud. But what we're going to start with in part 2 will, I think, play into the help me. But
oh my God,
think about the timing. So I left the digital recorder in the spa after we did the Estes method in the water bar.
Yeah. Was it after? It was after, because I remember I went out, because I was like...
Because we were in the women's spa, and we did, like, the call and response.
Yeah.
Then we moved to the water bar, and we did an Estes method session. Then we took a break. I went down and got... Because we went down to Ghost Central. I got the digital recorder, came back upstairs, dropped it in the spa, then went back downstairs because then we went to the basement. So I'm just thinking out loud, like, that is interesting timeline.
Yep. We'll have to...
It'll make a lot more sense when part 2 is released and you listen to the Estes method session.
Yeah, so this can kind of be like your teaser, because...
Sorry to have to tease you, but...
Yeah, but literally what we're going to open up part 2 with is one of the things that has totally changed my perspective on some of this stuff, because it was just one of the most intense experiences I've had so far doing anything paranormal, and, like... It is all piecing itself together way too well, and we can maybe paint a full final timeline at the end of part 2, because it's just like that. Oh God,
it's crazy.
It's great. It keeps getting crazier somehow.
Yeah. So, so that we're not going to keep rambling.
Yeah, we're just gonna like sit in shock. We need to do something funny to get over this.
Yeah, follow us at Remnants Paranormal on Instagram. We'll post some stuff from Hall of Waters.
Yep.
And you can always email us at podcast.remnants right? Yeah, podcast.remnants@gmail.com. It's a dumb email. I always forget it.
Please let us know what you think of this episode. Like, leave a review on Spotify or iTunes. Or
share this episode, because this is,
Please.
I think, this is definitely our best investigation. I think it's our best episode. We really, really want this one. And Hall of Waters is not super known.
Yeah.
So we want to get it out there, and if it's us that could get it out there, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, if our review means anything, this is, I think, by far the best investigation I've ever been on.
Yep.
So-
And, like, we're already talking about going back, so...
I just got a cold breeze.
No, your window's not open!
No, it's not!